Right. Hello, hello. How are you all doing? I can't believe there's, well, that's a good number on a hot, summery, Wimbledon-y night. I can't believe you're all not watching Love Island. I can tell you're all addicts, aren't you? No, thank you for coming. And there are some new Virgin Bavarians in, I think, tonight. So you can wave your hand if you wish. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'll get you to give a talk in a minute. No, I won't do that. I will just say, just briefly, just so you know the format of the evening, there will be 3 speakers tonight. They're going to talk about their passions for about 15 minutes each. It may trickle over a little bit, that's absolutely fine. And that's the basis of the night, essentially, is that we come and we share our passions, we talk about things that we love, and we enthuse, and sometimes the stories are sad, sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're different. And that's the beautiful thing about the Bavard bar, which, by the way, means to chat. So it comes from the French Bavard, to chat. So that's what you're at tonight. But before we begin, I will also just remind people of just a couple of little wild cards that I have. By the way, it's seriously hot, isn't it? I think they've probably about a week ago they moved England about 10 degrees south or something. It's literally, yeah. And we did this. Jenna, you were at the first one, weren't you? About a year and a half ago in here, that night when we couldn't open the windows and it was as hot as tonight, and we died. There was about 60 people, and we just died. So we didn't know it was going to be so hot. It was in March, and a random night. So I'm going to leave the door open and leave the fan on, and we'll see how we go. But there'll be 2 breaks as well between the speakers, so there's time to go and refresh our glasses and get some air. So I have these wild cards. This one is called KP Light, which kind of is a spin on, I don't know if you know, Pecha Kucha, which is another talking event where the speakers have to talk for 6.5 minutes to 20 slides that stay on the screen for 20 seconds each. 6 minutes, 40 seconds or something. And I sort of took the format and thought it would be amusing / interesting / challenging to have 6 random pictures that no one has seen before and let them stay on the screen for 15 seconds each. So anybody who wants to, if you want to, there's no pressure, no one has to. Some nights people do, some nights people don't. Boots, you did one once, and I think you did a couple months ago. But no one else in here tonight has done one, I think. But, there's no pressure. I can just wait for someone to volunteer. We've got all night. But those 6 images appear on the screen. They stay. Each of them stays on the screen for 15 seconds. They're random images from Tinterweb, and people make up some sort of nonsense and stuff. And it takes a minute and a half, and then we forget about it. Although I do film all of it, so there we go. So that's what that is. Then we have this other thing called the Uja Kapivi, which is this based on Would I Lie to You. And one of our Bavardas tonight, I won't give her name away yet, but she was the first ever person back in January of this very year to do an Uja Kapivi, which is legal, by the way, it's a legal thing. She did Uja Kapivi, it's one of those terms, they're known as cadigans, I think, like thingamy-bob and Ujmafla. And it's a Hastings old town expression. And the concept of this wild card is basically that, you know that game, Would I Lie to You? So I asked someone, if people want to have a go at it, they can give me a random a true fact about themselves. It's a bit unusual. And I think, Zephyr, your fact was something to do with a world tour with a rock band. And then I have a number of made-up facts that I've written down. Okay, such as I spent the night in the police station or whatever, and just at the end of one of the intervals, I'll call you up if anybody wants to have a go at it, and you take one of the pieces of paper. So you either get your true fact, or you get my made-up thing, and then we ask you questions, and we decide if you're lying or telling the truth. I think last month, was anybody here last month? Boots, I think did someone do one last month? Yes, someone said that he's not here tonight. But the one last month was. They claimed to have had breakfast with the Dalai Lama. And he bluffed the audience, and it turned out that he had breakfast with the Dalai Lama. I think he fooled us because he was asked what the Dalai Lama had for breakfast, and there was some meat involved in the breakfast. Everybody thought the Dalai Lama was a vegetarian, but yeah, and there was some reason why he ate meat. So there we are. So that is that's that. Then we have this other thing. Finally, no one's done it. This is based Victoria Drive. It's a road in Eastbourne. I based this wild card on Mornington Crescent, which you all know, but I don't know the rules, and no one's ever played this. So there we go. Feel free, you can have a go if you want. That would be wonderful. So I'll come to that in a second. Before I do, I wanted to, of course, talk to you about Love Island, which I mentioned last night because I had a teacher. I'm obsessed by Love Island, by the way. Do you all mind? No, not a single one person. Well done, Sandra. If you haven't watched it, it is. I have to say, I don't watch television at all. I generally don't. The reason I watch Love Island is because my daughter got me into it last year. It is genius. It's like a kind of psychological, sociological experiment with a bunch of beautiful but simple people who look and behave like talking sausages. It is literally genius. And
it's brain dead television.
Well, absolutely, of course it is. But it's fantastic. I love it. But I think that what will be better for us, because obviously this is not the demographic of the Love Island. I know that.
You mean we're not beautiful?
You are. It's the contestants. No, I think what they should do is they should have like they should have a Love Island for second time around. So people like me that are divorced and we're a little bit, a little bit jaded when it comes to relationships, and they should not have Love Island. They should just have Island. And rather than setting it, in somewhere hot and nice like New York, they should maybe set it in Canvey Island or Hailing Island, something like that. And they. Go on, sorry. I was thinking at least an island, so it could be based on Canvey Island, and the contestants would have to put up not just with emotional abuse, but maybe persistent drizzle as well. And that's what maybe before they go in, they have to sign a prenup or something like that. But anyway. That's enough about that's one of my passions. I have other passions, but for the months of June and July, Love Island is my passion. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about tonight's Bavard, because I'm conscious of the heat, and I don't want to take up more of your time than is appropriate. So I'm going to move on to tonight's Bavard and tell you that we have the wonderful Zephyr Barton, who did give the first ever Ujic Privy here back in January. It was wonderful. You fooled the audience too, didn't you? You bluffed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Fooled us completely. And Zephyr is going to talk to us tonight about William Sharp, also known as Fiona MacLeod. So I will say no more about that. Then we have Ben Bailey, who is sitting in front of me here. Ben, you're returning to the event. It's your second time here, isn't it, talking? And you've spoken over in St Leonard's, where I do it there. And I heard Ben do this talk last month, actually, at St Leonard's, board games and politics. So I've heard this talk before. It's a brilliant talk. You're going to love it, as you're going to love Zephyr's talk as well, I'm sure. And then finally, and again, I have heard this before because Canna Ingleson, who's at the back, gave this, and it was a brilliant talk. He gave this also last month. And you're stepping in for someone who was due to be talking tonight but couldn't because of work. So they're speaking, I think, in September here. So Canna has kindly come over and she's going to talk and give the brilliant talk she gave last month, because again, it was a wonderful talk and I heard it, about taxidermy. So, those are the three Bavardas we have tonight.